Palantir's dropped almost 11% today, and they announced earnings. Now, it seems like a mixed bag, so let's dig in deeper and see if the narrative has changed. For a quick disclosure, I do actually own some exposure to Palantir, so I'll show you that here on the screen pop right now, but it's a leap at the 12.5 strike. And that doesn't expire for, I think, until next year at some. What's going on, traders? Welcome to the channel. My name's John. That's Groot, the plant, and we trade options here. So like we had said, Palantir with the drop does seem to be interesting, and I am considering maybe adding more exposure to that. As usual, this is just educational purposes only. This is my stream of thoughts. Kind of my journal into my portfolio. So I really want it to be a learning experience for people, not a blind follow. And really that goes for anyone. Don't blindly follow any traders you see, especially on the internet, you know, but do learn from them. Maybe if they're smart, things they're doing or how they're managing risk. And that's sort of my goal. I want people to learn from that. Just to get into the platform really fast, I'll show you Robinhood there. And Palantir, like we had said, has drops, and there's actually a key level I'm watching, which is 28, which we're literally a cent away from. So I have a couple things that I'm concerned of, and one would be that if I took on a position, maybe it continues to drop, but we'll see. There's definitely some support likely at this 28 level, and then maybe lower, like at 24 or 25. So it's something to at least watch or keep in check as far as risk is concerned. I want to also explore why this had dropped and if it continues this week. Now, biggest thing that has been talked about is going to be the employee lockup is expiring sometime this week. I think it's in like 2 or 3 days, but let's just say by the end of the week, the employee lockup is not there anymore. So anyone who is holding employee stock options that qualifies can sell their shares on the open market, and it seems like there's a likelihood of that. So I think people took profits. You know, any traders who bought in at like 10 bucks, 9 bucks, you know, they're sitting on a healthy profit when it was sitting at $35, $33 a share. So it's worthwhile to maybe take profits and expect to get in lower or something along those lines. And same thing with employees. They might have actually owned stock way cheaper than this $10 a share. And for them, I can't blame them. You know, if you're working hard and you got rewarded and paid for it, you know, why not sell and then buy a house or sell half your position, so on. So that is the big downward pressure we are seeing. Let's look into their earnings that they had talked about today and see if there's anything in that seems to describe otherwise. Now, as I'm popping in here, I'll put this report PDF in the description below. So if you want to read through it, it's 54 pages. And usually most of them are dry, like not Palantir's, but most reports from companies are really dry. I will say big kudos to Palantir's investor relations team. They put together a really great deck, and it's worth reading through, honestly, for anyone who's interested. So as we're looking here, their business did grow significantly. I agree with this. Almost 50% revenue growth. Their margins are a lot better than they were in 2019. And they did sign quite a few deals, so that's pretty huge. And you know, I'll just go to some highlights that I had seen from this. Basically, the biggest highlights I'm really seeing is that their average revenue per customer has increased. So you know, any company would love this. Like, you basically, every sale you get, you want to increase your order value, and this is literally what they're doing, but on a really big basis. So revenue per customer increased, you know, we're getting up to almost 50%, but at 41, that's great. And then from their top 20 customers, which is huge because those are big dollars, that has increased about a third as well. So that's a big deal. I'll take that. Now, this I do like is their customer base is growing and scaling. The more customers you get, the more diversified your portfolio becomes, and you know, you're just not impacted to 1 or 2 customers if you lose an account. And big deal here is that they signed 21 deals worth 5 million or more. 12 of those, so more than half, were 10 plus million, so that's great. And then same idea here, their government revenue almost doubled, which is huge. They signed a couple deals with in Europe there too, but I think a few other countries in relation, in like South America and stuff, but related to, you know, the virus and things along that nature, health and human services type things. And then as we go to their commercial segments, this is a pretty big deal here. Their commercial growth is growing. 22%, great. Anywhere between 20 and 25, I'm really happy with. But let's put it this way. We had said they're diversifying their portfolio, right? So we're getting like mining companies, energy companies, oil companies, etc. And then the government is obviously huge. But here's the big thing. Think about them as almost being like a government contractor, right? Like DoD. And then also think of them as far as using that same tech, but just expanded over different data sets for commercial customers, right? So this is almost like a CRM type of scalability. So Salesforce is huge and they're doing very well. Well, I almost consider this a similar vertical for these guys. I consider this a very similar type of segment or vertical for them to grow in. So the margins will be huge, the scalability will be great, and then your operating expenses will likely lower or drop, i.e. the margins will look good. So their outlook looks amazing to me. Revenue growth excess of 30%, and then adjusted operating margins are going to expand. So we were at, I think, 17 or 16%. So that's a big deal too. So biggest thing here that I'm seeing is really the narrative hasn't changed much. It looks like the reason they had taken a loss on this quarter is really due to employee stock compensation. And I have a mixed feeling about that. If it's something that accelerates the next few quarters, I'm not excited about that. If it keeps eating into their margins, how they even run as a company, then I'm gonna have big problems unless they keep coming out with new products and expanding way more customer base. To me, the narrative has not changed. I'm actually willing to probably add to my portfolio. I just don't know to what extent. So if the stock continues to drop, maybe I should be doing like a half position or a quarter position and then add more later in the week. Or maybe I just forget about it, set it, forget it, don't even have to sit in front of the computer anymore. So I'm curious what you're thinking. I will definitely update as I add a position here and let you know what my thoughts are, maybe what my time frame is, but definitely do what Groot says and make sure you subscribe, because multiple times a week we will give updates on not only Palantir but other trades that are going to be happening and the thoughts in the portfolio. So if that was helpful, I'll see you on the next one, maybe tonight or definitely tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.